This is an urgent appeal from the Disasters Emergency Committee. Hundreds of thousands of people have fled their homes to escape conflict in Ukraine, leaving jobs, belongings and loved ones behind. They need shelter, food and water. You can help. To donate online, search DEC or text radio to 70150 to give £10. Thank you.
Streaming 24/7, this is Brum Radio.
Thank you for downloading this Brum Radio podcast. For more podcasts, visit brumradio.com.
I'm Dave Massey. I am down at the Mac. Sage and I have both been let out of the Brum Radio studio, and we have come down to see a rehearsal performance of Propel Dance's The Snow Queen, which is based on Hans Christian Andersen. It is coming to the Mac here in Birmingham on the 23rd of April, and it will also be going to Wolverhampton on the 27th of April with Propel Dance. I'm not sure if I said Propel Dance, but I'll keep repeating it all the way through this interview just to make sure. I'm joined by Kat and Lauren, who are part of the performers. This is an all-wheelchair performance. Guys, have you been involved in an all-wheelchair performance before? Is this your first time?
No, not been involved with just wheelchairs before. Nor me.
And how does it feel to be in a cast of all wheelchair performers?
It's quite fun. It's a different head that you have to get into because things like how we place our hands on our wheels, how we push our wheels, is all going to suddenly have a different... The audience is going to see it differently than if we're with our standing dance colleagues. It's more obvious, and also we've been like working with each other a little bit. Like some people are a little bit newer to kind of dance wheelchairs and what that can be like. So kind of a bit of camaraderie, a bit of kind of figuring out straps or anti-tippers, that kind of thing. So there's a kind of a different camaraderie as well in kind of shared experience, although we are all very different with very different backgrounds, but there's still obviously a commonality there. So.
And you just performed for the press in the Midlands. What was that experience like?
A little bit nerve-wracking, but quite enjoyable because we knew it wasn't like going out live or anything like that. We could just use our rehearsal time and show a little snippet. Quite enjoyed it really. Once the nerves were out of the way.
Sage and I were saying in the second and third rehearsals that you did, you were looking more gleeful as goblins as that was going through, and we could really feel that energy coming from you guys. How does it feel to be presenting this in a new way to an audience?
Really good, actually. It's been a very quick. We haven't had a lot of time to create what we've made, and it makes sense that you've seen us even in those runs that we did. Then even just the repetition, that's probably the most times in a row that we've done that movement, so that felt really nice, and it feels nice to find moments of like connection with the audience as well. You don't get that when you're just rehearsing without just in a space usually. It's really nice.
Fantastic. Lauren, can you tell us about the characters that you're going to be playing within this production?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing a character called Gerda, who is like the heroine in the story. Her friend has been kidnapped and she starts going off on a quest to help and get him back.
Did you know this story before you came to this?
Vaguely. I know it a lot better now.
The stage that we've seen here was laid out with as a big square. Do you think people will be watching from the front, or will they be around the sides as well? Do you know how that's going to look?
We are just performing in traditional theatre spaces, so it'll only be audience to the front. We've marked out this square today because on Friday, so before your audience will hear this, we're performing at the Old Library in Mansfield, and that's a much smaller space than the other two theatres that we're performing at, so we need to change our movement to fit into that space, and so we're starting to practice in that smaller space so that we're not running off as we would otherwise. So that's why there's that square today, but actually in the performances it will just be on the front in a traditional theatre setup. Yeah.
Why should we come and see this?
You should come and see it because it's the first wheelchair dance show with only professional wheelchair dancers in the UK, and because it's a great story that everyone in the family can enjoy and get a little bit frightened by and enjoy it and enjoy the adventure, and also because you need to see people of all different types, all different shapes, sizes, backgrounds, everything. Needs probably a strong word, but it's a good thing to see different people sharing their craft and enjoying themselves in performance.
One thing I noticed was that the music was quite industrial. There's a modern sort of industrial element, and this story is like 400 years old. How does it feel to interpret something that in this kind of new way?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. When Helen approached me, she mentioned that there was going to be like a steampunk twist on this production, and to be honest, I had to Google what that meant in like a bit more detail. Had a vague idea, but that's really enjoyable. And because we're the Snow Queen is traditionally a ballet, and I'm no ballerina. The people in my colleagues have got a more ballet background, but I myself do not. So it kind of helps to bring in the more contemporary element and the part that I'm more familiar with in terms of contemporary dance. So I really enjoy it, and Chris has done a fantastic job on composing the music for us and giving us accents and things to follow and help bring the story together.
What an exciting thing to be able to perform in the city and bring to Birmingham as well. And you're going to have had your first performance, Mansfield. Mm-hmm. You're going to have you been to Mansfield before?
Never.
Do you know where? Have you been? You've never been to Mansfield? No. So it's not very far from here at all, really. That would be quite a nice journey to go on and perform to an audience across in the East Midlands as well. And hopefully people will have seen it on the local news tonight as we're doing this recording as well. Thank you so much for chatting to me about this today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right, you can find the details of this production of The Snow Queen, propeldance.uk. It's at macbirmingham.co.uk, and also wlv.ac.uk. That's Wolverhampton University's website. wlv.ac.uk/arena-theatre. Look for the dates. These are on the 23rd of April, which is at the Mac, and then on the 27th of April at Arena Theatre, Wolverhampton. I'm Dave Massey. I am now joined by Helen Mason, who is Artistic Director at Propel Dance, and this is to do with the production of The Snow Queen, which is an all-wheelchair production. Is this the first time that somebody's done an all-wheelchair production?
Yeah.
That's just such a unique sentence, but also we're in 2023, and is that weird that it hasn't been done before?
Yeah, I think it's really weird. I think we were kind of doing a bit of research, like, this can't be the first, right? This can't be. We can't find anyone else, not in the UK. So yeah, the first UK's all-professional wheelchair user dance company.
While I was sat watching this with producer Sage, we were sat and I was saying that I'd seen Freewheeling as part of Wondrous Stories last year. That's building a momentum in itself. How does it feel to present this in this way to an audience?
Yeah, really great. So obviously Freewheeling are my community dance group, and many of them feel like they should be going on to professional work now, but there was just a lack of jobs. There's nowhere to refer them on to, so it was like, we best create those jobs then so that they can go on and perform.
How well do you know the story of the Snow Queen before you came and did this?
Not that well, not to begin with. I know it inside out now and backwards because I've done so much research on it. But yeah, only probably the connection with the Disney version, the Frozen version, and the connection with Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe, Narnia. And that was about it. But it was a really interesting story with lots of dark twists and turns. So yeah, I like it.
Because it's like a Hans Christian Andersen, it's from that Grimm Tales kind of generation. You're presenting it in quite a modern way. The music, I was saying just a moment ago, sounds very industrial. I could hear ticking clocks in there, and obviously that's one of the themes that comes through. Do you think, how does it feel presenting something that's like 300 or 400 years old as like 2023?
Yeah, great, actually, because there's just so many interesting themes in it, from growing up to friendship to, and it almost feels like there's hints of mental health issues that we deal with now, the mirror that reflects the positive into negative, and it's that thing of holding on to only the negative comment you've had that day and you forget all the positive things someone said to you. So that was really interesting. And I also liked that it is one of the original fairy tales where the female is the hero. It's not the Prince Charming goes to save the princess that was helpless. It's the other way around, and I really like that and thought it worked well with modern times.
I always forget that it's quite a long story, really. There's part one of the adventure, part two of the adventure. How long is the piece running to at the moment?
So currently, because this is still just its research and development phase, it's 45 minutes. So we've really had to condense the story right down to the bare minimum of it, because this show could be 2 hours long if we really went into it. So yeah, we're mainly focusing on the story of Kai and Gerda, their friendship, the Snow Queen, and then how Gerda rescues her friend back from the Snow Queen.
And what sort of age do you think the audience is going to be when they come and see this? Are they going to be younger people or older people? Generally, it's been presented to younger people before.
Yeah, so we're hoping it's sort of a whole family kind of experience. At times, some of it feels a bit scary, to be honest, for very young kids. So hopefully a slightly older child group. But yeah, hopefully everybody could come, from your gran to your uncle to your auntie to your cousin.
Brilliant. And which is more pressure, having the first performance with an audience, or having us come down and film you and then they're going to put these guys on TV tonight or across this week? Yeah,
I don't know. I think maybe this is more scary for me, doing the talking. We're dancers. We just communicate through movement. So having to actually do the words is probably a bit more nerve-wracking than actually performing to an audience.
I really want to see more of this and see what it looks like as a full performance. I can't wait to have this production introduced to Birmingham and when you go to Wolverhampton as well. I'm going to just read out the details again for it. You can find the details on the website at propeldance.uk. If you check out the website for tickets, macbirmingham.co.uk, click the What's On section. Then if you go into Wolverhampton at Arena Theatre, it's wlv.ac.uk. Oh, it's a long address here, /Arena Theatre. And the dates there are the 23rd of April at Mac, and then at Arena Theatre on the 27th of April as well. Helen, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us about this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to this Brum Radio podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on your podcast app.